Nowhere.
Would you like to help us?
With what?
Preparing his body with myrrh and frankincense, in accordance with our Jewish tradition. Judas, have you not heard already?
Heard what?
He's dead. Nearly an hour now.
I knew it. I knew he'd waste it.
Judas, what are you saying?
The kingdom of heaven. He had his chance. But now what? 3 years of teaching and healing. All of our money squandered. For what? For this.
It's not over, Judas.
That's why I'm here.
Well, didn't he make us a promise? He said the kingdom of heaven is beyond this world, Judas. Beyond life and death.
You have it all figured out, don't you? Who are you, Nicodemus, pretending to be one of his disciples? You're not one of his disciples at all.
Aren't you jumping to conclusions? What if we were to wait 3 days for the fulfillment of that promise? Give him the benefit of the doubt. You've been with him for this long.
It is over.
I think he expects more from his followers right now. Don't you?
Stop talking as if he's still alive. Do you question my devotion? Do you know what Peter did to Malchus' ear at Gethsemane? Do you know how many times the other disciples questioned him every time he spoke, while I accepted blindly whatever he had to say, without questioning?
No one is questioning your devotion, Judas.
Everyone always wondering where the money was going.
I don't know anything about that.
He trusted me the most, more than Matthew. I was never a tax collector, and I'm no Pharisee sympathizer either. I only did what I did because I was trying to rush things along, give him a chance to prove himself in front of Pilate. Why didn't he save himself and us?
What's wrong with your lips?
What are you talking about?
You were rubbing them.
They burn.
Burn?
Yes, it's my punishment for trying to do the right thing. I had it all figured out. And he walked right into it.
Maybe we're supposed to stop trying to control the things that God has apparently had under his control from the beginning.
And maybe you should remember who you are, a Pharisee and a hypocrite.
I threw my old controlling self off some time ago, Judas. That night I first spoke to Jesus.
What are you talking about?
He told me about being born again in the Spirit, about sacrifice, about self-denial by giving my life over to him. At first, his words didn't seem to make much sense. They were almost blasphemous. But as we continued to talk, I began to realize that his love and sacrifice and grace were actually the radical fulfillment of the law, not a condemnation of it. I gave my life to him that night. And he called me brother, his disciple.
Careful, you may betray yourself, Nicodemus.
No, not myself. Not even the law. But I do betray the others of us in the temple who still stubbornly hold on to their own thoughts of what they should do with God, their own forms of self-preservation.
I can't believe it. I've allowed myself to sit here and be lectured by you.
Let it go, Judas.
Let it go? That's not what I signed on for, and that's not why Christ called me.
Didn't he say over and over that we are to deny ourselves and take up our cross and follow him? Well, he even showed us how to do it by living it before our eyes.
This is ridiculous. I've heard everything you're saying hundreds of times.
then you must remember him preaching that whoever wants to save their life will lose it, and those that lose their life for his sake will find it.
You're a parrot. Tell me something I have not heard for 3 years.
It's easy to hear without really listening. I gave my life to him, Judas. I gave over everything to him that used to be precious in my sight. My reputation, my comfortable lifestyle, my circle of friends, my standing in the temple, my pride, my control over my own life.
Stop it. Stop it. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. Do you think I haven't made sacrifices? Nicodemus, that night he dipped bread with me in his bowl.
Ah, yes. A gesture of close friendship.
Everything spiraled out of control after that.
Well, I don't think everything spiraled out of control.
I tried to do the right thing, but it just went wrong after that.
But you were so close to him. I admire you. He obviously trusted you very deeply.
You have no idea what I did.
Well, I know that he taught you how to cast out demons in his name and how to tend to little children, even though they annoyed you. Yes, I saw you with him on several occasions.
Well, he was terrible with money.
Well, maybe from your perspective, but from where I was standing, he did so much with so little through his love. And you were with him almost every step of the way. Didn't you witness Lazarus' resurrection?
I was there.
Do you not doubt then his power to come back from the grave and to redeem us? You know, he called us not only to follow, but to follow through with faith and obedience.
You're talking nonsense. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. But it hasn't come, has it?
Well, perhaps not the way we thought it should.
You don't understand at all.
Let it go, Judas. Take up a new cross. He's calling us to bear it in his name.
I sacrificed 3 years of my life to follow Jesus. How dare you sermonize to me about taking up my cross?
Wait, Judas. You don't have to do this. There is forgiveness.
Listen, you follow him your way, I'll follow him mine.
Judas! Wait, Judas!
Enough. Well, I just want to say a little word about that whole story and about Judas and Nicodemus and their meeting. And I think that as Hal and I were trying to understand what went on in Judas's life and how Judas was spiraling downward out of disappointment because things in his life hadn't turned out the way he had anticipated. And his experience of Christianity or following Christ hadn't turned out what he had expected it to be. At the same time, there was Nicodemus, and he was going through an opposite experience where he was really beginning to understand who God really was and was really beginning to trust in Christ. But as the story went on, as the story ended, I said to Hal, you know, actually, I think Judas had it all right if Christ hadn't risen from the dead. That's really what makes a difference, because if Christ hadn't been from the dead, Judas's despair and his hopelessness and his sense that life is meaningless would have been exactly the truth. And Nicodemus would have just been some kind of foolish, pie-in-the-sky person. But what really makes a difference is the resurrection. Couldn't ask the choir to come and sing.